The college football playoffs were the best teams in the nation go at it, culminating in the most exciting, thrilling games. Wait a minute, hold up. In the last couple weeks, all that everyone's talking about is the blowouts we've been seeing, but remember guys, it's been worse. Today I'm on a journey to uncover the most humiliating loss in college football playoff history, and spoiler, it's not the one you probably think. These games weren't just defeats, they were obliterations that left players, coaches, and fans searching for answers. If you love college football and want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe and hit that bell so you never miss another upload. I'll be taking two major things into consideration when making these judgments. First, the expectations or context of the game, and finally, how it actually played out on the field. For example, SMU versus Penn State in 2024, 38-10 PSU wins, which was the biggest margin of victory in the 2024 field. So does that make the most humiliating loss this year go to SMU? Absolutely not. Everyone knew their chances were slim, they were on the road, and they were more than a touchdown underdog. Let's start with the one on top of everyone's mind. Yes, it belongs on the list, but not for the reasons you think. The 2024 Rose Bowl quarterfinal between Oregon and Ohio State. The first ever 8-1 upset. The Ducks' undefeated 13-0 Big Ten champion season was all for nothing, and no one saw it coming. Psych. Everyone knew the Ducks got the brunt of the brand new seeding format, essentially not getting rewarded at all for having the best regular season in college football and facing the red-hot Buckeyes. The nationwide belief in Oregon was so low that Ohio State was favored to win the game. In other words, how could this be the most humiliating loss in CFP history when it was predicted? Now, almost no one expected the blowout, and that's obviously why it's on the list. OSU led the game 34-0 in the second quarter, and let's be real, the game was over after the first quarter. Credit to Oregon for not laying down in the second half because they easily could have lost the game 48-0 and been crowned as the king in this video. If you thought this was bad, just wait until we talk about a team that didn't even manage a touchdown in their playoff game. The 2015 Cotton Bowl semifinal between number 3 Michigan State and number 2 Alabama. This loss was so bad for MSU, it completely ruined their program. No, I'm just kidding. The truth is, this would be the last time they ever reached the playoffs before the program went on a downward spiral. This game was a matchup between two legendary coaches, Mike D'Antonio, and of course that random guy who works on College Game Day, Nick Saban. Who even is this guy? He doesn't know ball. Michigan State was supposed to put up a fight in this game. Although Bama would become the eventual national champs, the Spartans had a 12-1 record that season, winning the Big Ten while having 3 top 10 wins. Alabama also had some pretty impressive wins on their resume, including one against number 2 ranked LSU, and the Tide were favored by 10 in this game. But the fact that MSU didn't score any points, it had to make the list. Alabama won this game 38-0, and forget a first down because at some points in this game, it didn't look like Michigan State could even move the ball 2 yards downfield. They finished with only 239 total yards, and quarterback Connor Cook threw 2 picks. Derrick Henry put up 2 touchdowns on the ground for Bama. However, I'll assure you that most Spartan fans didn't really think they had a chance in this game, and considering the fact that Bama eventually won the title, this is not the most humiliating playoff game of all time. Shutouts are rare, but not unheard of. Yet there's one team that managed to lose so badly, it made fans throw their TVs out the window. I can already hear the whiners in the comments. The 2022 national championship between TCU and Georgia is not the most humiliating playoff game of all time. Yes, this is the biggest statistical blowout in national championship game history. It was 65-7 Georgia. I mean, come on. The Bulldogs scored on their first 6 possessions, and it was well over before halftime, but read between the lines. Everyone knew that Georgia was going to win and get their back-to-back titles. They were favored by 13 points, and TCU was in the midst of one of the greatest CFP Cinderella and one-hit wonder runs we had ever seen. They weren't even ranked to start the year, and if you told your friends they would make the Natty, you'd get laughed at and probably sent to a facility. The fact that they even beat Michigan in the semifinal was unreal. So, is 65-7 the way you want to go out in a national championship game? game? No, but for all things considered, just making it to that stage against the UGA Stetson Bennett dynasty was a win for the Frogs. There's a national championship game that I actually think is more humiliating for one team, and let's talk about it. The 2018 Natty between number 1 Alabama and number 2 Clemson. Both teams were 14-0, and everyone was expecting another repeat of the 2016 championship where it was a tight contest. Remember, Bama had won in the previous season against Georgia, the famous Tua game. Was this game anywhere near as lopsided as 65-7? No, not at all. However, it was more humiliating because there were expectations. Bama is almost never on the wrong side of history, especially when Saban was in his heyday. But this time, they were. The Tide were favored in this contest by 5.5 points, but they laid an egg. A freshman quarterback named Trevor Lawrence carved up Bama's defense, going for 347 through the air with 3 passing tutties. Clemson led 31-16 at halftime, which is not the end of the world, but what really gets me is the fact that Alabama was held scoreless in the second half, which is unheard of for a Saban team and almost just feels wrong. Clemson won 44-16 in a game that was humiliating for Alabama because they just didn't see it coming. So this must be the end of the video, right? Nope. There's one game that culminates everything we've been talking about today and takes the crown. The textbook example of pooping the bed, Ohio State versus Clemson in the 2016 Fiesta Bowl. Both teams entered at 12-1, and with the Buckeyes facing a tougher schedule, many thought they would have the upper hand in this game, despite Clemson reaching the Natty in the previous season. Ohio State was favored by 3 points and ended up laying down, losing 31-0. Clemson became just the second team in college football history to shut out the Buckeyes in a bowl game, and this marked the first time Urban Meyer had been shut out in his coaching career. But above all that, the way it transpired was much worse than what the scoreboard said. Ohio State's defense wasn't horrible. In fact, they forced 2 turnovers, which makes them scoring 0 points even more baffling. The Buckeyes only had 9 first downs to the Tigers' 26, with 215 yards of total offense. Clemson didn't dominate this game from the jump, but instead wore down Ohio State methodically, scoring 10 in the first half and 7 each quarter the rest of the way, which in most cases can be even more agonizing for fans. It's like dying a slow death. Without a doubt, considering expectations, context, and the play on the field, this is the most humiliating performance in college football playoff history. Do you agree with this list? Let me know in the comments. I've been Saturday Shenanigans, your home for unfiltered college football content, and I'll see you guys soon.